We are live, Believe Nation. Happy Wednesday. Today's been crazy. Wednesday is my project day. So on Wednesdays, I pick a project that I want to work on, and that's what I do all day long. I like having Tuesdays crazy, Thursdays are crazy, and so I like having one day that is not massively scheduled, that then I can do whatever I want to do. So that's today, and I'm also super excited to bring in a guest. This doesn't happen that often. We're bringing a repeat guest here. There she is, the one and only Tracy Litt. How we doing?
I'm great. Do you want to see my share impression? Shall we start with that?
Share, okay.
My share impression?
Does she do the tongue thing? I mean, Share, I don't know. I don't know a lot about
Yes.
Share.
Oh, yes. So for anybody who is hanging out with us who knows share, that is
That's
that's my
legit.
world-class legit share impression.
That's a whole other YouTube channel. I like it.
Right? Just all share impressions all day.
Okay, hold on. Now we're talking about your thing coming up. What's the website that I can link up below?
Oh, unshakeablewithtracy.com. And it's the
Okay,
unshakable without the extra E in it.
Unshakable. Okay, hold on. With
Tracy.
Oops. Tracy. Gotta love Instagram. Step by step. Unshakeablewithtracy.com. Okay, I'm gonna put that in there. Did I spell it right? Check it out in the chat.
I'm waiting to see. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Unshakeablewithtracy.com. Okay, here we go. Tracy Litt in the house. Got a new program coming up. Unshakablewithtracy.com. We linked it. Go check it out. What are we doing? What is Unshakable with Tracy?
It is a full day virtual immersion where we are going to clear the blocks that you are currently dealing with in regards to your lack of worth and believing in yourself. We are going to work mindset in a way that works. Like we talk a lot about, you and I are in the world of personal growth. There's a lot of change your thoughts, change your life, a lot of neuroplasticity. But how? How do you do it practically daily so that you can start to reap the rewards and actually change the way you think? We're going to hang out and shift the understanding of fear because much of how we're told to deal with it is unhelpful. And I'm going to teach you my choice method. That's always going to help you make quantum leaps in your life and create what you want. All in one day, in your jammies with no bra on.
Well, I don't wear a bra, but I hear what you're saying.
I don't either.
Well, there you go. So what on Zoom? What is it on?
It's on Zoom. Yeah, it's on Zoom.
On Zoom, and is it what's the timing? What are you doing? Like, when am I showing up? When am I ending?
You're showing. So it's Friday, November 6th, 9:30 a.m. Eastern is when we're starting, and we're going to go until 7 p.m. So it's a full day, and you'll have breaks, and we'll dance, and you'll take lunch, and all those kind of things. But you're going to shift and heal and change and connect, and it's going to be killer.
I love it. So it's next Friday.
Yeah.
It's coming up. This is great.
Yeah.
And so you mean women is your primary market, entrepreneurs,
yes.
People trying to feel stuck. Okay.
Yeah. Women, entrepreneurs, leaders. Yeah.
And what's the cost?
$97.
$97 for the whole day.
For the whole
day with Tracy.
Day.
The whole day with Tracy. Cool. So have you done this as a Zoom before? Because I know you do lots of coaching and everything else. Is this your first Zoom big group thing?
In direct to you guys like this, yes. I do a lot of corporate stuff on Zoom since COVID hit. So I'm constantly doing hundreds of people in a virtual setting. So we do breakout rooms and it's actually really, really cool. But this is the first time I'm offering a virtual retreat. I do in-person retreats that are awesome, but I wanted the opportunity to hang out with more of you.
I love it. And what do you think what are the issues that women entrepreneurs face that are different than the guys?
There's
the deep side. Look at that. I like it. Okay, here we go.
I want to be thoughtful.
I love it.
There is a inherent lack of confidence and lack of self-belief that is far more pervasive in women. So it appears, because I don't work with enough men to give you an absolute, right? I'm going to be fair. I don't know what I don't know. But in working with thousands of women, I do know this insecurity, this feeling of maybe I'm a fraud, this concern of who do I think I am, this inability to trust your own instincts, right? To just like become unshakable. I named it Unshakable because what it really takes for you to show up and be all of what you're capable of being and do what you were birthed to do on this earth. You have to have this interior know, like you know, like you know, like you know, this conviction. I don't care what you say or what they say. I don't need to consult 35 people and get their opinion. I know who I am. I know what my dreams are, and I am going to make it happen. And I think that that's a difference between men and women in general because of how we were brought up. Just from I'm making a total generalization, so I know there are exceptions, but by and large, stereotypically, women were not raised to be that bold.
So it's a parenting issue?
I think it's a patriarchal cultural issue. I think it's a societal upbringing. I think, it starts all the way from men being hunters, right? And in the caveman days, and women being tribal and together, right? Why do we care so much what people think of us? Why are we constantly trying to fit in instead of recognizing that we already belong to ourselves and to everyone around us? It all kind of comes down to that need to be included, and the fear of what people will think, and the fear of us not doing it right, and failure and not being enough. And that kind of stuff kills me. Like it breaks my heart. That's the kind of shit that wakes me up in the middle of the night, because the world needs us now more than ever. And when I say us, I mean all humans, but we're talking about women right now. The world really needs us to step up into a level of personal power that we all have, but no one taught us how to access. So it's, you know what I'm saying? Like it's already in you. It's just, you got to learn how to play with it.
So I just made an investment into a gaming collective called Queens, where it's trying to promote women in gaming. Because women go on, and if they find out that you're a gamer, it can often be toxic and negative. And so a lot of women hide the fact that they're a woman when they're playing video games, because they don't want the harassment, I'm just trying to think of all the different women entrepreneurs that I've dealt with. And I've had the good fortune to meet people who sold their companies for billions of dollars, which is awesome. But I remember running a mastermind group here in Toronto before I started going hardcore on YouTube. And it was for people with $1 million plus trying to get to the next step. And we always actually had a hard time finding women candidates. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of women, at least my own little experience here in Toronto. There are a lot of women who wanted to be entrepreneurial. There's a lot of women who wanted to start their own business and didn't know how to do it, and were kind of early stage trying to figure it out. But not enough of them had the ambition to create $1 million business. It was a part-time side thing, or if I can just replace my job, that's great. But it wasn't, no, I want to build a big company. Mm-hmm. And it was constantly like we had one awesome woman in the group, and I was like, how do we get more women in the group? And everybody that I'm talking to is just thinking too small for their business and ambitions. Help me unpack that. Like, why? Oh, am I right? Like, is that something you see too, or is this my experience?
Oh, 1,000. No, 1,000%. That the $1 million and over businesses are predominantly male owned. And that's one of the things we want to change. Venture capital money, only 2% of VC money actually goes into women owned businesses. And at the core, I think it's a few things. Number one, we have a lot of roles to play, right? Maybe you want to be a mother, and you want to be able to run a household, and you want to be able to start a business. So I think that there's like an identity crisis a little bit that goes on. We were also taught as women throughout the generations, just be happy for what you have, right? Like you're saying, I'll just make what I made in my job, in my business, and I'll be happy, and that should be enough. There is this aversion to asking for more, to being okay with saying, I want to run $1 billion company that is going to change the world, right? That takes a level of confidence and belief in yourself that really isn't instilled in little girls. It's not. It's, you're meant to be seen and not heard, right? If you use your voice, you're condescending and bitchy. Just sit back and be happy for what you have. You should be happy with having enough. It's enough, right? And that's one of the things I love to work with women on, because I'm like, no, use your voice. God gave it to you for a reason, right? You get to have nothing less than everything you've ever dreamed of. You are capable because you were born, right? And sometimes we have to undo so much of the programming, which I know you know, right? That's, you talk about belief all the time, like undoing all the things you used to think about yourself so that you can start to go, wait a second. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And if he can do it, I can do it. And if she can do it, I can do it. But that takes belief in self. And that takes inner work, a lot of it.
What from your program? So again, guys, down below, unshakabletracy.com. Next Friday, all day long, you get to spend with this awesome woman, help and unpack everything. What are you most excited for in the, how many hours is that? That's 10 hours?
I don't know. I don't know. Is it?
Hours?
It's 9.5 hours, yeah. Yeah, I usually have to do math on my fingers.
What are you most excited? It's just a long day. It's not just like a 45-minute webinar or something. What are you most excited about by what you're going to be going over?
I'm most excited about the community. Group is magical. Bringing other women together to be rallied around by other women who are also ready to show up for themselves, right? And whether you are aspiring to start an entrepreneurial journey, or you're taking your entrepreneurial journey from 6 figures to 7, or you're a corporate leader that runs, teams of people, whatever it is, there is magic that goes on when you put women together. Because another unfortunate thing is that women have this belief that, like other women, they don't get along with other women. Right? That it's this like weird competitive thing that when I was younger, I subscribed to. I had a lot of dude best friends my whole life, right? Because I used to think, well, I just get along better with dudes than I do with girls. So I'm excited to be together with other women who are ready to do the work and watch what happens, because community expands growth so much. We can't do it alone. We're not supposed to do it alone. We tend to think, no, I got it. I'm fine. I'll handle it. Like as if that's some badge of honor. It's like, no, ask for help, be available, love each other, be happy for somebody else's success. That's what I'm pumped about.
So talk me through what you're going to do in the group settings. Cause I'm an introvert. I've been on a bunch of Zoom different things over the past, how long we've been going through this COVID. And every time we get put into these groups, my heart starts to have a little mini panic attack, because oh my God, what am I going to say? Now I can't just hide behind all these other, now I'm on the spot. It's like, who are these other 4 people that I'm in this little group with? And what am I going to say? And all of it, my heart starts, and it almost always goes well. But what do you do? I'm curious about your format. So you have your big group session, you got everybody sitting there watching you, and you're going to go through your workshop and materials. And then what? What is your model for breakout rooms?
So then the breakout rooms will be random, number one, so that you don't know, to your point, it's like, then you see all the faces, right? Yeah. Because really what that is, it's an exercise in vulnerability, built into it, which is really cool. It's an exercise in vulnerability and visibility. It's also an exercise in paying attention to what your mind is offering you that's trying to keep you small. Right? When you get into that breakout room and you start to pay attention to your thoughts, which is part of my directive in an event like this, and you start to hear, oh my God, I don't want to be the first one to talk. I don't know what they're going to think of me. Oh my God, what if I say the wrong thing? I want you to go, ooh, interesting that's the quality of my thinking. Interesting. So it's that kind of awareness. So that's how we're going to promote it. And then you get in the breakout room. It'll always be directive. At first, we're going to talk about what's your intention for the day, and what is this next level version of you? Who is she? Right? Because I always say, don't wake up and think about the woman you want to become. Wake up and be her. So what does that mean to you? Right? And who is that? So there'll be directives in it. And then when we come out of the breakout rooms, we're going to have one of the women from the breakout share. Yeah. Because I'm a consummate teacher. And I understand what it means to learn and, connect new neurons and be able to have an experience so that you get it. So then people from the breakout group can share and say, okay, we understood this. What's the question on this? And then we'll keep going with kind of the workshop and the lessons.
And how big are you thinking putting the breakout groups?
No more than 6.
6. No, and then how long are each session? I'm just curious for me.
Each breakout room.
Yeah.
Like each breakout session?
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet because I haven't done like figuring out exactly what the directives are going to be, but I'd
Okay.
say somewhere between like 5 to 8 minutes.
Oh, so super tight. That's like a minute per person. So you got to go
Yeah.
fast through it.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Wow.
if
Okay.
you give what I've learned enough, and whether I'm doing like a corporate Zoom, I recently did a beautiful training for McDonald's, right? Just as like an example. If you give people too much time, especially on Zoom, when you're saying, okay, who would like to share, right? You'll just sit there in silence for a while, right? So I like to say, let's go, like, let's share. If you're here to be a leader, you're here to become unshakable. Using your voice and being visible is a requirement,
Right.
right? Like here you, as introverted as you believe you are, you show up constantly on social and you're talking to the world, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
visibility is clutch. It's clutch.
We do hard things. Right? We do hard things.
Of course. Sorry, you broke up. Yes, we
Oh.
do hard things. Yes.
I run a twice a month training for 85 minutes called Movement Makers, and we just added it as a Zoom group and did breakout rooms for the first time last week, and they were freaking out, loving it. And I gave them, I want to say 15 minutes in groups of 6, and the number one request was, can we go longer next time? Which is like,
oh, thank you. Good.
You don't want my training? Oh, come on. No, but they love the connection to each other, sprinkled into obviously still learning from you and everything. At least my experience with it, the connection to each other to find other people who are exactly like them and then not feel so alone and to share. I think one cements the learning just so much more of what is being taught, but also gives them the feeling heard, right? And like now actually applying the content instead of just learning or hearing the content, because it's one thing for you to say, hey, ladies, you got to show up, versus right now.
Uh-huh.
I
Yes.
got to do it right now. Okay. Right.
Yes. And that's why when you ask me, what am I most excited about? It's the community, because it's the connection. And at the core, every single one of us, we're walking around, whatever, 30, 40, 50 years old. And we're just like going, see me, hear me, love me, see me, hear me, love me. And we deserve that. We deserve that, whether or not you got it as a kid or not. And when you come into a group and you have that connection, and to your exact point, you hear someone else share and all of a sudden your shoulders drop and you're like, oh, thank God. Oh, it's not only me, because after you hang out with me, you learn what isolated thinking is, right? But until you've hung out with me, you don't realize that you spend so much of your time isolating yourself in your thinking, making your perceived problems worse than they are. But if you would just go, hold on, like thousands of other people have or are currently going through exactly what I'm going through. And then all of a sudden you're like, cool, I'm normal. Yay.
Yeah.
And everything gets a little easier.
The website is Unshakable with Tracy. We put it down below. Unshakable with no E, and Tracy with no E
Yeah.
as well. Is that an American spelling, the Unshakable with no E? What is it?
I actually, I don't know if it's American or not. I just knew it was an option. And my mind just went, that's how I wrote it out.
There's no E. There's no E in Tracy. There's no E in Unshakable either. Come on, let's go, fam.
That's right.
I love it. Okay.
That's right.
What I'm just trying to think, what do you think is the number one thing that kind of prevents people from being? You said, like, don't wake up and think about the person you want to be. Think up and be the person that you want to be. What is the thing that prevents people from being that person?
They don't feel like it's safe to have it all and allow themselves to feel that level of success.
You don't feel it's safe. Okay, that's interesting.
Yep, there is a deep, you've heard the term, the shoe's going to drop, right? That's like a very, very pervasive thing. Mm-hmm. We don't feel like it's safe to be happy. We don't feel like it's safe to be her, to have that level of success, to stand up and walk like that, to use my voice, to say no, to make that kind of money. Who do I think I am? Because you're still functioning from your old identity, right? And people don't know how. Change is not easy. There's an art to change. We have to work within our system. We have to realize that the ability for you to be her is solely based on your ability to create safety in your system, right? So there's an art to change. So I think there's a how component that blocks people as well.
And talk to me about balance, because I think a lot of women entrepreneurs, especially, will judge themselves for being a good mom, a good wife, maybe even a good daughter, plus a good entrepreneur, and there's never enough hours to do everything, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's constantly looking at, well, she's doing this and she's doing that, and everybody else looks like a superhero, and I feel like I'm failing everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we get over the comparison problem or trap?
Well, there's two answers in here. I'll go back to balance in a second.
Okay.
But comparison is something that we actually do to keep ourselves shrunk and small. Like, because no one ever compares themselves to feel better. Like, you don't compare yourself against someone, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's narcissism. But the normal person, when we compare and we drive ourselves to feel lower. We compare and it keeps us focused on, I can't believe I'm not there yet. And it keeps spinning the criticism that you have for yourself, and the shitty self-talk and all of those things. So the real answer to how do you stop criticism is you remind yourself to stay in your own lane, right? But in order to get to that point where you can make that choice over and over again, you have to do a little bit of healing work. You have to be doing some of the kind of underpinning work in your subconscious around your beliefs and around how you see yourself, and really realize this core belief that I practice all the time. I am in a category of one. I'm in a category of one. We all are, because no one will ever be you or me or anyone else. There's so many beautiful people in personal development. Nobody is each one of us. We are so uniquely ourselves. That's the first piece. The second piece, which was your first question, is I actually don't believe in balance at all. I think balance is a crock. I think work-life balance is just yet another thing for women to achieve. Just another thing to pressure, because now I'm not in balance either. Oh my God. And now you're spinning down like the rabbit hole of criticism. When in actual fact, and I say this, I have 3 teenage daughters, okay? So like, I am a busy mother. Talk about like, there could be always something for me to focus on. Whose boyfriend's here? One of you guys are gonna love this. Last week, my eldest 17-year-old built a fort in our family room, like an old school fort, like she was 5.
Okay.
So she could make out with her boyfriend and not have my husband and I like stare at her. Creative, right? But my point is, I have 3 teenage daughters. My husband, who's here, works from home. A very, very tight family. My dad lives down the street, right? Life is happening. I'm running a very, very beautiful, big empire. I'm serving women every single day. Balance isn't even a concern or an intention. My intention is presence. Am I present right now with you, hear me, and you? Yes. When we're done, will I be present with sitting with my middle daughter and asking her how her student government project went? Yes. That's all we need. Presence in the moment now. Throw balance away.
I see Nina here in the chat, and Nina here is pretty hardcore Believe Nation, joins in on a bunch of my IG lives. She is talking about the fear of becoming a target. Can you dive into what that means and how to overcome it?
Yes. So I'm going to interpret what you mean by target, right? Because I have to make a little bit of an assumption. You can see it as a target if you want to, or you can recognize that if you're in this to have a certain amount of visibility and a certain amount of exposure, then there's always going to be people with opinions. Always, right? And I don't begrudge that either. Like I say that I'm not pizza. Not everyone's supposed to like me. And I'm cool with that.
Who doesn't like pizza? Come on, that's like my favorite food of all time.
Right, but that's exactly my point. I'm not pizza, because who doesn't like pizza, right? So to understand that it's not about seeing it like, oh my God, I'm going to be a target, because really what that does, Nina, is that's just your fear winning. And if it gets you to attach to, well, I don't want to be a target, then you won't be visible and you won't live out your dreams. Instead, it's just recognizing with visibility and exposure is going to come a plethora of perspectives and opinions. And that's okay, because I am right for the people who I'm right for, and I don't need to be for the people that I'm not right for. And you can lovingly leave it right there.
That's it, Nina. She's saying
right?
Grateful for you both, giving the happy face and like the prayer symbol. Just a small sample of what you're going to get next week, Friday. Unshakable with Tracy. Links down below again. Unshakable with no E.
Yeah.
I know we're coming up on the clock. Kind of final words, final thoughts. encouraging people. I mean, obviously the women here watching, or the men, to encourage their spouses, friends, sisters about
Yes.
what you're doing next Friday.
Yes. Take the leap. Your mind always gives you all these different reasons to not do something, right? Whether it's, oh, it's $97, it's the time, oh, the kids, how am I going to get coverage? To understand your mind is to understand that it will always show you the loss before it will show you the gain. And if you don't start to learn how to be more powerful than your mind and not let it lead, you will be blocked forever. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, click the link, sign up, or sign up for your wife. And I promise you, you will end the day a different version of yourself than you started.
There it is. You just got lit up. Let's go. Unshakable with tracy.com. Appreciate you as always. Have a great event.
I totally appreciate you. Yes. Thank you, Evan. Mwah.
Much love. Thank you, Tracy.
You too. Bye, guys.